Hi, I'm Lucy Marvellous from Fresher Bites, and today we are making this gorgeous homemade pizza. I have got my oven on at 200 degrees. I have lined my baking sheets with parchment paper to save on washing up later. I'm going to make double the quantity today, so I need to put my bowl on, 0. I need to weigh 300 grams of self-raising flour. When you get close, slow down a bit. Spot on. I've already weighed my 50 grams of butter. This is cold butter from the fridge. I'm going to cube it to mix it in with this flour. It's easier to use cold butter because we don't want the butter to melt, and for that reason when we rub the butter into the flour we're just going to use our fingertips. This part of your hand is warm and that would melt the butter. We want to rub the flour and the butter together just using our fingertips like this. I'm putting the butter in little cubes because that will just speed things up. There it goes. So, both hands in, roll your sleeves up. Once your hands are in, don't take them out or you'll get a snowstorm. Picking up the little bits of butter and squashing the flour and the butter together. So, get in your hands, a bit of flour, a bit of butter, just using your fingertips, squash the butter and the flour together. You need to keep doing that until the mixture resembles fine breadcrumbs. So you just keep picking up the butter and the flour and squashing them together. When you think you've done it, give the bowl a shake and any lumps will rise to the top. Just squash those in and you're done. It's quite a small amount of butter. It's just to hold the dough together. This is probably what you'd call a scone dough because it's got an egg in it. Traditional pizza's made with a bread dough, but that takes a while to rise. This doesn't need to be risen. You can just put your toppings on and put it straight in the oven. To get the mixture off your hands, give them a really good rub over the bowl. Okay, now we need to measure our milk. We're doubling the recipe, so we want 100 millilitres. Make sure your bowl's down nice and flat. That's 50, that's 100. To our liquid we are going to add a couple of eggs. I'm going to whisk this up with a fork just to break up the yolk. Don't go crazy, it will go all over the kitchen, but just break up the yolk so that your mixture is nicely mixed in. Next we mix the wet and the dry together. Use a knife. If you put your hands in here you're going to end up with monster hands and a much smaller pizza. So use a knife to just slowly mix this in to make a lovely soft dough. It will be very soft. Keep mixing with the knife until it comes to form a ball that leaves the bowl clean. It's all formed into a nice ball. Now we can put one hand in and gently, because it is soft and squishy, pull it together. This actually is a bit too sticky. I'm going to put a little bit more flour in. Those eggs were large. I think with medium eggs you'd be better off. You get a better mixture. Mixing in a little bit extra flour so that it's manageable. It will be soft, but it needs to be manageable as well as soft. I don't want to waste any mixture. Gently put your hand in, remembering that it's liquid inside, so it is going to be soft. Just push it all together. Doesn't need much working, as I say, it's not a bread dough. I'm going to turn this out on some work surface. To do that, I need a little bit of flour so it doesn't stick. And as I'm making two pizzas, I'm going to cut it in half. course, your traditional pizza maker will be throwing it around. I won't be throwing it around. I'll be very gently rolling it out. The trick with rolling something sticky like this especially, be very gentle, don't push down, push forwards, but also every time you roll, give it a quarter turn. It's just starting to stick a bit. It needs a little bit more flour. It's those large eggs. Don't use large eggs. Yeah, that's sticky. As soon as you feel it stick, a bit more flour, keep it moving. Because what you don't want is for it to stick to your work surface and then you won't be able to cook it. Okay, pop that one on there now and stretch it out a bit further with my fingers. Okay, stretch that one out pretty much to the edges. And then with this one, because we know it's sticky, plenty of flour on the table. And just gently roll it, turning it every time. See how I'm working it, just making it a little bit bigger, but not pushing down. I don't want it to stick to the work surface. Trick for popping it onto your tray, put it over the rolling pin, and then there we go. I've wiped the surface and got together all the toppings that I will be putting on these pizzas. So tomato puree, I'm just going to squidge this all over and then spread it with the back of a spoon. We don't want to stick the dough to the paper, so don't push downwards, just spread and go as close to the edges as you can. There we are, edge to edge tomato. Next we will prepare our other toppings. So, spring onions, so much easier than normal onions. Just get your scissors, start at the green end and snip. You can use every part of the spring onion right down to the root. Leave that bit on the side. Spread these liberally all over your pizzas. The recipe says 1 tomato, but I've got these little tiny tomatoes that need using up, so I'm going to use a few of these. I'm just going to slice them, bridge hold, slice. You don't want big chunks of tomato. You can even go smaller than this and do little pieces if you want, but I quite like slices. Bridge hold and slice underneath. Spread them all over your pizza. Bridge, slice, bridge, slice, and then claw, cut it into little pieces. And anything that looks too big, just cut it again. Make sure you're spreading everything. If you pile things up, they won't cook as well. And this is your pizza, so you can have whatever you want. You could have a little bit of red pepper if you like red pepper. You could have a little bit of salami. You could have a little bit of mozzarella. And we have got plenty of grated cheddar to go on the top as well. If you are having something like pepper or the salami, cut it nice and small so that it cooks through, because the pizza is only going to be in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. Salami, you don't need loads, a few little slices is plenty. Cut them into little pieces, kitchen scissors are easiest, and sprinkle them all over so that everybody gets some. If you put it on too big, one person gets loads and everybody else doesn't get any. I'm just adding the salami. Make sure you spread everything out. You want each piece to have a bit of everything. Next, mozzarella. This is a bit of indulgence, but it was on special at the Co-op. We don't grate or slice mozzarella, we tear it like this. Mozzarella is a cooked cheese. It's very lovely, very melty and stringy, and quite traditional for pizza. So I'm going to spread this all over this one. And then I put cheese on top of everything. I think it's traditional to put the cheese underneath, but I find the cheese protects the vegetables from burning, so I like to put it on the top. And again, make sure you spread it out nicely. Add some Italian seasoning, mixed herbs. In this case I've just got oregano. Don't just tip it, someone will get a horrible mouthful. A little sprinkle. It's delicious, but not in huge amounts. There we go, this is what will make it taste super Italian. My oven's nice and hot, so I'm going to pop these in. And set my timer for 15 minutes, and I'll have a look and see how they're doing. There goes our timer, that's our 15 minutes. Now because the top of the oven is hotter than the bottom, I would expect the top pizza to be done and the bottom one might not be. Wow, how's that for beautiful? And the bottom one's done just fine. Delicious homemade pizza with whatever toppings you want. Once you've cooked something, please pop over to Facebook, let me know how you've got on, maybe show me a photo of what you made, or if while you're cooking you've got any questions, pop over to Facebook, Fresher Bites, ask me a question. There's a very good chance I'll be online and I can answer your question, or there might be someone else in the group who can answer your question too. Happy cooking!